I put this on. I get a lot of people coming to me saying, Graham, I need the money. I need it really, really quickly. So, for instance, I've got a VAT bill. I've got a VAT bill to pay on a week on Friday, and my big supplier said my big customer promised to pay me. He's not going to pay me, and now I've got this VAT bill, and I've already upset the Inland Revenue. I'm on a time to pay order. The last thing I need is not to pay this one. There are funders out there who'll fund deals like this. They fund VAT payments, R&D tax claims. If you know you're going to get an R&D tax claim back, they'll effectively lend against that. Generally, it has to be for a specific purpose. These sorts of lenders, and there are many. The reason I haven't listed them is because there are just so many. But generally, they'll lend quickly, generally within 48 hours. They're expensive. And they always want a purpose. They don't like the words working capital. They hate the words just general funding working capital. I want it for this. Graham, get me a purpose for this loan. So that's what it is. Some of them have weekly repayments. One or two of them, there's one in particular I know that will lend without personal guarantees. They'll look at the strength of the business and just say, well, that's okay. But there aren't many like that. There aren't many. Because generally, if they do that, a bank could fund it, and it'd be a lot cheaper. I put this on. It may not be relevant now, but I just think it might be of interest to certain people. The Tier 1 Entrepreneur Scheme is a scheme whereby if you are foreign, which at the minute means non-EU, and you want to come and live and work in the UK, it's very difficult. Having said that, if you have £200,000 to invest in a UK business, then you can do it. And it's a government scheme. It got the bad name of cash for passports. That wasn't what the government wanted it to be called. They wanted it to be called the Tier 1 Entrepreneur Scheme, but people called it cash for passports because people were effectively investing money and then staying, and that wasn't what it was for. The idea behind it, first of all, it can be debt or equity. The person who's coming over there has to be a job for that investor within the company, and they have to have the ability to do it. I work quite closely with some Chinese lawyers in town who have multiple Chinese investors wanting to do this. But what you can't, and I'm not having a go at this job, but you can't be a dustbin man in Beijing and then take on a marketing director's position in the UK. That's not the purpose of this. Pardon? How do they vet it? They get interviewed. The Home Office, you have to get a visa. Yeah. So when the deal is going to be created, before the money is transferred, the applicant will be interviewed by the Home Office, and they have a series of questions. If they don't get them right and answer in the right way, they don't get a visa, and they can't come. And therefore, that's why they do it before the money's transferred. It's not quick. I would say on average it takes between 3 and 6 months, because the reason I work with the Chinese on it is because they seem to like this. There's a lot of money. I went over with these lawyers to China to pitch to rooms full of just rich Chinese people who this is what they want to do. And either they tend to be people from China who want to come over and I've got business over there and want to do it over here, or they are Chinese students who are over here who don't necessarily want to go back straight away once they finish their degree, and therefore get their parents to invest in UK companies. And Manchester and Liverpool are big sources of Chinese students. Interestingly enough, the ones I've had turned down, one business was in Barla in North Wales. Forgive me if anyone's from Barla, but the Chinese person didn't want to live in North Wales, in Barla. And the other one, interestingly enough, was in the Lake District in Ulverston, which is a beautiful part of the world, but they still didn't want to live there. They seem to like city life. Another one got turned down in Bacup. Again, if you're from Bacup, I'm sorry, but.
Do you know where you can find these contacts that might be interested in this opportunity?
Well, I mean, you can take my car and have a word with me. the Chinese lawyers who I know have a database of people who are like this. You really hard. I must be honest, I wouldn't try and do it directly. I would try and, because the real crux of this isn't so much getting someone with the skills to do, the skills and the money are not the problem. There's a right load of skills and there's a right load of money. The issue is getting the visa, and you've got to write the business plan that says, I have this role, and these are the skills I need, and Johnny or Mary are the right person to do that. It's not. That's why it can take between 3 and 6 months to get sorted out. And you have to create at least 2 jobs. But to be honest, if you're going to put 200 grand into business, the chances are that will create 2 jobs.
Have there been many Manchester companies that have successfully?
Yeah.
Can you give us any?
I know a business that did air conditioning, and it was a perfect. I think it works. I've got to be honest. I don't think it's not a perfect thing because it takes a long while, and you've got to take someone who you might not otherwise take. But
6 months doesn't feel like a long while compared to maybe some of the other.
I think it works well when you're either where you buy from China or the Far East anyway, and that the language issue is a benefit, or you want to sell into China. The company that I helped made air conditioning. It's a very specific type of air conditioning, and the guy they got's father was involved in air conditioning in China, and they then started selling their product out in China. So it was a perfect win-win for them. But it doesn't always. I know some where it hasn't worked out, and they've not got on. You don't. They have to be. They have to be employed. You can get rid of them, but it's not easy.
Does the business group are they involved in that, or what's the business?
Not particularly with that scheme, I don't think, but I think the closest they probably would do is with DIT, Department for International Trade. But Graham, I did want to ask, have you come across Timothy Haig? Because he's someone I'm working with who's looking to do business in China, so I'd love to take your business card after this and connect you guys.
Sure. Do you work for the Hub?
Only a couple of days.
All right. Steve Wall knows these guys as well, or Ian Dixon.
Oh yeah.
One thing they say, they're not they're not aggressive on equities, so that they're not. What they want is for the person to come over and stay here for 5 years. That's the length of time they get, and potentially actually forever. So, that's what they want, and they just want their money back. So they're not aggressive in terms of equity, nor are they aggressive in terms of debt. There's no PGs, no personal guarantees, and the rates are typically 3% to 6%. So it's not expensive. They just want to come over, live here, work here, get some experience, get some money out of China, and there's certainly a strong demand from Chinese investors, and there's probably strong demand from others, but I just don't know them. But the scheme, really importantly, the scheme is a government scheme, so it's there. The government just don't promote it. You can go online, you'll see it. Right. Yeah, I wanted to talk about. We're moving on to. I thought that slide was somewhere else. Right, okay. Northwest Business Angels. I want to talk about Northwest Business Angels. The Northwest Business Angel Network is a network of Northwest Business Angels. There are 300 plus business angels in it. It was around in the time of the regional development agencies, which was a long time ago. It was based in Warrington. The Northwest Development Agency was based in Warrington. It was a bit old school. It was a bit, I'll be honest, it was like old men sat around having the lunch, whatever. There's a lot newer, younger money in it now. They hold monthly events, typically in Manchester. The next one, I think, is at PwC. Unfortunately, much as you'd like to, you can't go and just watch. So you have to be a high net worth to go. And I'm not saying you're not high net worths, but if you have to register to go. You can't just turn up. They tend to have a practice event. Yeah, they tend to have a practice event, and then if you get through that, then you go to the real event. It is free to pitch. So there are no pitching fees, and there are no success fees. And I would say on average, the ones that I've been involved with, the average amount raised, I'd say somewhere is between 150 and 200 grand. That seems to be the sweet spot. Right, I think 150 is probably the sweet spot. I think when it gets up towards the 300, 400,000 pounds. Some of the angels, no disrespect to the angels in the Northwest, but there's just not as much money around. If you want to get that sort of money, go to London for me. Or if some of them work as a syndicate, so you'll get a lead angel going, and then him or her and her friends will then put the money together. And I've not put it on here, I'm sorry, but there is a fund called the Co-Angel Fund, which is a matched fund. So when if you can get a syndicate together of 3 people putting at least 100 grand in, the Co-Angel Fund will look at matching that on equal terms. So if you're going to give 10% away for 100 grand, they will match that. They have to give the same terms. You can't have different terms for them. It's not really at that level it's more for if you need 600 grand and you can only raise 300 through angels, then that's a good way of meeting that gap. There's a view there's been an equity funding gap between about 500 grand and $1 million. 500 grand where angels work and some of these other funds work, and £1 million where your VCs might get out of bed to come and talk to you. Although there are 300 business angels in this network, typically about 30, between 25 and 30 come to the event. And that's because some of them don't like coming to events, some are interested in you typically get 6 people pitching at each event. They might not like it, or as I say, they work in syndicates, so they only need to send 1 person. But they're good, and I think it's a good experience. Whether you get to pitch at the actual event, it's a good experience because it's all free. It's done through the Growth Hub. Go.
Julian, do you want to share your experience? You just pitched at that.
Yeah.
Graham has seen me pitching, so.
Yeah. Oh, I saw you pitch. Yeah.
I think it was an experience definitely was worthwhile. I've heard some of you pitched as well, but it took me a long time to get through those. So I got engaged with Business Hub in September, and we got to pitch in January. So it does take a while. But my mistake I made, I was planning thinking if I'd gone through it, I would definitely get the money, which was very naive. So I put all my eggs into one basket, and when I had some leads afterwards, so some people approached me, but I realized it wasn't like I was such a huge success, not at all. And so it taught me that you have really first focus on your business as usual, and then continue looking in different places as well. But it's a great experience.
It is a good experience. I mean, I've had people there, and I thought that it's been brilliant, and the angels have hated it. I just don't. And then I've other ones, and they've loved it. And there's no taking account of angels. They are who they are. And you just have to accept the fact. And the angel who you need might not be there that day. But having said that, they do distribute a 500-word summary, I think it is, to all the angels. So all 300 angels will know what you're doing, but only 30. And they're now doing live videos as well. Yeah, that's a new.
It didn't work out in January. The sound wasn't great.
No.
So they didn't send it
So
out.
was it like a Periscope or a recording?
Well, not live, so where you like YouTube guys now. Yeah.
So it's an interesting group. Sorry.
The Growth Hub, I mean, are they really designed for tech businesses?
I think I'll be honest. I try to go to every angel event that there is, every Northwest Business Angel event that there is, and I would say at least 65 to 70% of the businesses pitching are techie. I'm not sure on yours. There was, there was, wasn't there? I think there was one person with a product. Yeah, and that the nail thing. Yeah.
But in terms of the BFS finance on some of those, the £25,000 one, you have to show profit or not actually losing money in the first year. Which if you're a tech business, which is very difficult. So you've either got to fix it, fudge your figures, or be honest.
On the loan side, you're probably right. Yeah, they like profitable businesses, but this particular thing, this isn't run by BFS. This is run by the Business Growth Hub. Okay, so the Business Growth Hub inherited the Northwest Business Angels. So they, on here, I think the minimum is 25 grand, and you can try and raise as much as you like, and they will help you. I mean, the Access to Finance. There's an Access to Finance team run by a guy called Phil Hargreaves, thank you. And there's I don't know how many Access to Finance people there are, but there's a number of them. And they will help you get ready for this. You presumably had somebody, didn't you? John, yeah.
But Graham, just to mention, on the Business Growth Hub side, tech businesses are concerned, my question is how qualified are people who you're approaching with the technology? Because my introduction with GrowthHub and the technology we're involved in, we're using blockchain technology. My advisor basically said, you don't really need to mention this in my pitch. That to me was quite insulting because he didn't know about it.
Mm.
So my thing is, if these advisors are advising, they need to be qualified.
This more of an issue now for the Business Growth Hub rather than me, to be honest.
Get Shiraz as your advisor. He's a yes.
Yeah,
Shiraz, a yes.
I understand your point, Kathy. I do. So what I was going to say is typically you get 30 each event and you get 6 minutes to pitch. And they're pretty strict on that now. They're pretty strict on the 6 minutes. But it does work. I mean, one of my greatest successes was having a guy there. He was really pissed off with me because only about 15 angels turned up. Only one person spoke to him. But that one person invested in his business. He's my favourite. I tell this story all the time because they met on a Thursday. He phoned him on the weekend. They shook hands on a deal the following week, and they're still working together now. In fact, and the reason the angel invested in him is because he liked him. He actually didn't like his product. It was an app. And he just liked the guy, and they're still working together. And that must be 4 years, 5 years ago. I can't.
The same business idea?
So, no, it's completely something different. He's well known in Manchester now, this guy. So, anyway, I put this up because I know James did a thing about angels. I talked a little bit about angels. This is my view of what I think are desirable attributes of an angel. They've got the money. To be honest, don't worry about the money. They've got the money. I put this on here because it's been raised as an issue to me by some people. We're wary of those purely seeking consultancy. You do get angels at events. I say that they class themselves as angels, and then who want to do consultancy for you and want to charge you £1,000 a day to sort yourself out. It's not right or wrong. Just be wary. I'm not saying they haven't got the money, but I think if that's their overall thing, rather than thinking about how we're going to fund your business, just be wary and maybe get some references about them and what they've done before. I think it's beneficial if they have a skill or experience that you don't have and that would add to your business. I'm not saying don't get someone who understands your business, but if they've got legal experience, financial experience, or marketing experience, or international marketing experience, etc., I just think that's an advantage. I know angels who, to be honest, put money in and say, just spend it, just go away and do it. There aren't many like that, but there are a few who trust you. But most of the angels I know want to get involved in some way. They don't want to run your business, but they do want to get involved in some way. I think if they have a vision of your business like you do, and it accords with your own, it's great. If they don't, it's a nightmare. And I remember putting what I thought, a green angel and a green entrepreneur together, thinking they'd love each other, and they hated each other. They said they would do 6 weeks, and then assuming everything went all right, off they went. 3 weeks. In fact, not even 3 weeks. I can't remember. It was such a bad event. It was just awful. Fortunately, I managed to get the angel another investment somewhere else. I've used this analogy. I'm sorry it's another dating one, but it's like putting your best mate with your sister, and it just doesn't work out, and they both hate you because your mate hates you because you promise something that it doesn't deliver. Anyway, so they've got to have a personality as well that doesn't have to be the same as yours. But you need to work with these people because investors, it's a very people-orientated thing. You talk to angels, that's what they talk about. It's a people thing. They invest in teams and people. And do I want to give this person my money, but do I want to work with them? Because they've got to see you. And if they don't like you, and you don't like them, there's a guy I know who didn't get some money through me, but did take some money from investors. And initially, he thought he'd made the completely wrong decision. It turns out now it's been all right, but it took him a long time to get themselves sorted because these two things, they had the money, they had some experience, but these two things didn't work really well at the beginning. Now, it's working all right now, but it's taken a long time, taken it over 12 months. So that's what I consider to be desirable attributes of an angel.